Hi everyone, this is Carlies from Kreatives Leben, and today I would like to talk to you about watercolors. And I'm not a watercolor specialist, but I'm an art journaler that loves watercolors, and this is really what I would like to do today. I would like to talk to you about watercolors as an art journaler. I'm not going to talk to you as someone who wants to pursue a career in watercolors. So, how do you choose watercolors and how do you know which watercolors to use? And for me, I think the best way is to explain to you what informations mean with regards to watercolors. So here I would like to introduce you to a color chart that Schminke offers, and Daniel Smith has something similar. So basically these are all the colors, and you basically can go in and whatever color you like. So for example, May green might be an interesting color. It's one of my favorites. I love May green. And you can look at it and say, oh, that looks interesting. You can even paint with it. It has enough, it has a little bit of paint on it so that you're able to go back and paint with it and decide whether this is a good color for you. And you can see here, I have already tried one, but I haven't used it very much yet because I'm still in awe after receiving this. And what I want to show you is that there are different, let me go into the shade here. There are different information next to the color, and I want to explain to you what they basically mean. And every professional watercolor provides that information, and I just want you to understand what it means to make a choice. So one of the first things that they will tell you is whether the paint is transparent or not. So let's look at these two, and you can see that the white is very opaque, whereas the second color, which is quinacridone azo gold, it's very transparent. I mean, you have the impression, you don't have the impression, you really see through it. So that's the first and most important question that you need to ask yourself. The interesting point about watercolors is they are transparent, but maybe you don't like that. Maybe that's something you find disturbing because you can cover up. You can't. It's not like acrylics. When you're not happy, you just go on top of it and then whatever was underneath can be hidden. So the second point that I have listed here is granulation. So let me give you two examples. So the purple is a granulating color and the green is a flat color. And the difference is basically that the granulating one, there are clusters of pigment on the paper spread out. Whereas the other one, the same color is everywhere the same. And some people like granulation, some don't. Most people, I think, when we start with watercolor, we don't like granulation because it's kind of scary. So if you're not sure, if you feel that you want to master the color first, maybe you should refrain from using granulating colors. But if you are interested in trying new things, new color schemes, then go for granulation. This is a brand new word, I think. And the last one, well, I have been using this already to show it already. So let me see, I hope you can see this. So basically is the staining. Watercolors cannot be corrected, as I said, but you can remove colors. So basically you can put some water, let me just spray. And basically, by taking a rag or whatever, you can try to remove the color. And some color, you can do that very easily, and some they stain. So this is the important one. So for example, this one, mistakes are more problematic, whereas the yellow, it's easier to take away. So for beginners, I would recommend to use colors that stain less, or at least just to know that this might happen so that it will be harder to correct. So these are the three things I think you need to be aware of. I'm leaving a last point out, which is, I'm leaving out two things actually. I'm leaving out the light fastness, and light fastness means that the color will fade the longer it stands in the sun. So some colors, they can disappear, they can fade out within half a year, and others, they can stand and stay there for 100 years. So this is a very important information for artists, obviously. For us art journalists, it's not really an important information. So I think I don't need to mention it to you, or you don't need to care. At least that's my point of view. If you're interested in selling your art, so to go beyond being an art journaler, then you should find out about light fastness. And the last information that you often find is the price. So it's a price category. So 1 would be the cheapest and 5 the most expensive. So it's more to know if the color you're going to choose is cheaper or more expensive. So these are the information you need to know. You need to know what you like in colors, if you like transparency, if you like granulation. The next question is, which paints should I choose? And I think it's a very difficult question. I have tried to do swatches, but they're not always comparable. But I wanted to show, and in some cases I think I could show it, in others I could show it less, but because I don't always know what pigment are in there, I cannot really do it in the most professional way. The most professional way would be that I take the exact same pigment in all the different brands and I make swatches and I show you the difference. That's how I should do it. But this is for art journalers, so I'm trying to give you some guidance on how to choose your colors. And I have tried to go from the cheapest to the most expensive one. And here, Lyra is basically, this is from my daughter. You know, this is, it looks like gouache, but it isn't. It's just very cheap watercolor, and you can see, I mean, it's not very colorful. But if you want to find out whether you should go for watercolors, why not? I mean, these things, I think there are 24 colors, and I don't think I pay more than $10 for it. So that might be a starting point. I've tried another one. Price-wise, it might be some very different, but I wanted to introduce you to this as well. So I told you about pans, I told you about tubes, but I also have these peerless paints, and this is actually paper that it's stained with watercolor. And basically what you can do is you can go in, let me see if I have somewhere to put it here maybe. You can go in, let's say I want the Viridian green, and I just put some color, and that's it. And that's really great when you are traveling, or when you want to have this in your notebook, in your whatever you have to paint. If you're an urban sketcher, that could be a solution. Otherwise, for an art journaler who does everything from home, it's probably not the best, but you can see the color is quite nice. It's a nice color, nothing to say, nothing to complain. It's expensive to get, at least in Europe. I had to have it imported, so maybe it's cheaper in the US, but that could be an option. So let's go. So the Lyra is the cheapest. Then there are student grades, and this is a Winsor & Newton, and this is something special that I wanted to show as well, so that's why it's interesting to share. It's a little travel set, and the interesting part is it also has 12 colors, which is good, and I'm going to talk about color later. And the interesting thing is that I can have water here, and I can have a little pot with, so I can put the water in here. I can take the travel brush out, I can paint, And then when I'm done, I go back and I put everything together. And look how small this is. You can put this in your purse. This was rather expensive, but not because of the paints. The paint themselves are about mid-range. It's Crema, so it's a student grade. But because of everything, you know, it's a bit playful and it's really for special needs. It's more expensive. But you can see I found the color very bland. I would not buy the color. I think I will take the pen and everything, I will exchange them for others. So, and then we will go to Crema, which in Europe they are rather expensive because we have to import them, but I know in the States they are like the go-to sets. Comparable, I think, with Jane Davenport. They are not classical professional grades. They're because we don't know what pigments they are. They're not using standardized pigments. They're not comparable, so I could not say, you know, this red is exactly the same as the Schminke red because I don't know. I mean, I can see it's a different one. This one is a warm red. This is a cold red. But other than that, I cannot tell you what color it is, and therefore it becomes very difficult to compare it. But it's great, you know. I think it's around $20 or 25. They have 4 different sets. Basically, if I would be starting out, I would choose one of these. I'm not too big a fan of white nor of black. Usually that's watercolor artists don't like them because white is usually the color of the paper. That's why you don't need it. I don't need it because I just take and my gel pens if I need white, or I leave something blank. And black is also something that most watercolor artists don't use because basically they mix it themselves, and black would be a mixture of all the different colors basically. I don't use it, or very seldom, because I don't think it's a good black. If I really want black, I would take ink, Indian ink. So, but that's a great start. I choose this one, for example, because of the colors. I love this opera pink. I love this, yeah, I don't know what, leaf pink, green, leaf green, May green. This is the kind of color I like. So this is a set that is perfect for me. I think for traveling purposes, that is a great set. And you can see the color is a decent color. I mean, if you compare, they're very similar colors, both. But I would say, yeah, no, they're not similar. They're different colors. These two are probably the same. But it's a good color. It's a good quality, mid-range, student grade quality. Now I'm coming to the more expensive one. Probably Holbein is also in between. It's more student grade. I bought this one for about, I think, $50, imported from the US, from Japan, 24 color, so therefore it's price-wise similar to this one. I like the color range. It has beautiful colors. I'm not too much a brown tone person because I don't do landscapes. I do more whimsical stuff. So for me, this is a good set as well. But it's an investment because basically that you get only tubes, so very small tubes that fill a full pan, and you just, I had to buy this separately, and then I put my little, my color in there. So that is another option. Let me go back to Schminke. Schminke in Germany is actually not as expensive as in the US because obviously it's being produced in Germany. So for us, it's, I know in the US it's quite an investment if you want to buy Schminke, and people ask themselves, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I love Schminke. I like their student grades, but obviously I love the Oradam mix, especially if you see these 140 colors, you go like, wow, I want to have them all. I think the quality is great. It doesn't really show here. It's probably not the best color to show what it can bring, but it's wonderful. I really think it's wonderful. Then we come to the next ones, and these are really top of the benchmark. And one is Sennelier, which I really love. They're made out of honey, not Gummi arabicum, so not as the other colors. And I could not get this out earlier. So what I usually do, I do swatches on watercolor when I receive a new set, as I did here, so finally. And then I laminate them, so it protects them, and here it's dirty, but it's okay, I can just take it away. And it protects the color a little bit, and I think it's very convenient because I know exactly what colors I have, and if one is empty, I can reorder them. And I just love the consistency. I love the honey. It makes them very soft to use, but that's something I really like, and the colors are great. I mean, I think honestly that if you have to choose a color, choose the color first and then try to find a good brand that provides it. Don't take the most expensive one, but take one that still has the color you're looking for. And I'm going to talk about it. But let me finish first with Sennelier. So for example, this one sepia, it's just a very simple brown, but it's such a great brown. I really love this warm sepia, and you can see, because this is where I have least colors in this. The other colors I have in other paints, but this is the brown I really love. This is the brown I use most. So I love my Sennelier, and here I have my Daniel Smith, because they're so expensive to order. I have only few. I have this wonderful red, and again, I don't think it's the same pigment as the others, but you can see how brilliant it is. Here is one of my others, the Moonglow paint. They have wonderful colors, lots of granulating colors, so if you like that, that's the place to go. So these are different brands, and this is just to tell you how to choose. Let me go back on what I would do if I would start. Honestly, I think I would probably buy one of the small sets, Crema or Jane Davenport in the US, just a little one, or you might buy yourself a larger pen set. Oh, that's the wrong one, sorry, like me. So this is a larger one, and I have just removed the original paints and I've replaced them. And I have just put the colors that I use most, that I really like. And you can see some are really almost empty, and you can see, so I have this gray, which I'm asking myself, why did I put it here? Because it's still very used. It hasn't almost never been used. But the other colors are really the colors that I like most. And when I go somewhere and I know I'm going to paint, I don't have to think which palette do I take. This is my go-to palette. When I'm here at home and I'm painting, I usually have more than one open now and just take the one that works best for me. But this is the way I would go. If you start, buy yourself 6 to 12 paints and add whatever you want. A true watercolor artist would tell you, you can mix all the colors you want. You don't need to buy all these colors. I'm not a watercolor artist. I think we are journalers. We just want to have a great color. So choose something that you like. I think that's... So let me come to the last point, which is, what about all these products? These products that actually look like watercolor when you put them. So you can see here, I did some swatches and they're all very transparent, similar to what we have. One of the main difference, so the top one is a Schminke orange, and I can reactivate, no problem, but I cannot reactivate any of the others. So here, let me show you what I have. I have here a very simple watercolor pencil. Then I have a Tombow marker. I have here my Zic clean color. Then I have an Inktense, Neocolor 2, and I have here this Amsterdam ink. And this is an interesting one. So these are considered watercolor. So this is, for example, an aquarelle watercolor pencil. But to be honest, you can activate them once, as I do here, and then you have color. But once this is dry, it's very difficult to reactivate. It's very staining, so to say. But, you know, maybe you're looking for something different. You want to be able to do very thin lines. And with this brush tip, you can. The same can be said with the Tombow marker. So you're looking for something different. Or here you want to have some shading. So you want one part to be a little bit darker and then get lighter. So you can activate it, and this is what is going to happen. The same here. So these have watercolor similar reactions, but they aren't. And this one definitely isn't. This is Amsterdam ink, acrylic ink, and this is acrylic. So it's also great because it gives you similar reactions than watercolor, but it doesn't react. And in some cases, this is what you want, so that's great. In other cases, it's not what you want, so be careful. And let me just finish here with the comparison. I have 3 fluid, and here you have the Ecoline, and the Ecoline is interesting because it's really, you can reactivate it. This is really watercolor. The ink spray and the dilution is something people, yeah, either you like it or you hate it. But they are great sprays, but they also react when you reuse water. They can be reactivated. And if you don't like that, you can use the Marabous. These are acrylic sprays, and they don't, you can't reactivate them. So this is something you just need to be aware of if you use this medium. Yes, there can be replacements of watercolor. It depends on what you want to achieve. The water, it's not as brilliant, I think, as true watercolor. Also, something that I need to discuss or would like to present before I finish is all this iridescent paint. So this is the cheapest I have, and I think that's okay. It's a Yasutomo, and these are different watercolors that have shimmer in them, and they're wonderful. I think I paid around $10 for that, and I know there's not much paint, but it's definitely worth it. Another color that I love is are these, the Gansai Tambi. So let me be careful, I am just, so here we go. The Gansai Tambi, these are also from Japan, from Kuretake, and they are wonderful watercolors because they also shimmer, and they're different types of gold. So if you, like me, love gold, this is something you should have in your stash. And last but not least, of course, the twinkling H2O. You basically have to put some water because they're very hard to activate. It takes some time, so you can't just go in and, so now it should come. And they have great shimmer in them. So if you like watercolors, if you like shimmer, these are the things to have. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I have inspired you to buy something for Christmas. Have fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of your art in watercolors. Bye-bye.